Welcome to Paranormal Almanac with your host, Kurt Sandvik.
That's right. Hey, howdy, hi. Welcome to Paranormal Almanac. I'm your host, Kurt Sandvik, and on this week's edition, let's talk about the Vatican, their exorcists, and maybe even some demons? Let's find out. Let's see what we can get to. But first, we have shout-outs. That's right, shout-outs going out to the patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/paranormalalmanac. In fact, well, I'll talk about it in a minute. This episode was actually started as a patron episode forever ago after I released a patron episode forever ago. You'll find out what I'm talking about in a minute. Let's get to the patrons. Shout outs to Corey. Hey, howdy, hi. GC. Yowie ate my homework. Tracy. Hey, howdy, hi. Newt MacGyver. Getting MacGyver on it. Brandon Melton. Avril. Loch Ness. Not a monster. Stacy. The Demolition Diva. Leviathan. The Wicked One. Ill said. Brian. Heather G's. Jeffrey B. Johnny the Pommy, hey, howdy, hi, from the other side of the world. JT, Doogie Hoare, Mike G, Tracy B, Jeff Lightfoot, Richard, Alec, Karen, Duran. Not both of them, just one Duran. Choose a Duran. You can say hi to them. The rest of the Durans, they've got to wait. Lori, Rebecca, Orlando, Ann, Stephen, Cher, Jane Ann, Jennifer, Heather G, your friendly neighborhood skinwalker. Zuzus, what's it? Nico, Cher, and the Mouse. Andrew, Mark and Tina, Tortuga, Mike from Jersey, JB, Andy, Tracy, Virginia Mailman, Tony, the Magician, Jason, Vicky, Crow, Libido Works, Glacier Main, Isabel, Audra, Jen, Amber, Tracy, Kelly Joe, Menace the Beast, Kick-Ass Magic Robot Webcomic, Sandy, Paige, Couch, Scott, Andrea, Melody, Vanessa, Marisol, Becca, Jake, Charlotte, and the Beasties. If I was the devil. Ooh, this episode is for you. If you were the devil. Oh, boy, I hope I don't accidentally exorcise you. Like, that would really suck if I accidentally exorcised one of my patrons from this episode. Look, when I do my little exorcism spiel in a minute here, not you. You're cool. You seem good. Elizabeth, Sherry, hey, howdy, hi. Oh, I'm so excited to talk to Sherry on the 300th or somewhere around the 300th about what she's doing right now because it sounds cool. Art Muffin, Tim, Kenneth, Alexandra, George, Zozo the Demon. Again, Zozo, please don't be exorcised on this episode. Hayden, Cindy, Ashley, Robin, Will, Lauren Mangano, Russell, Isabel, Audra, Dorian, Cindy, Paula, Jerry, Jeff T, Joe, Lawrence, Melissa, the Lauren Strawn, hey, howdy, hi, Veronica, Autumn, Carolyn, Nashi, Todd, Jamie, and Elijah Hendrickson, Dan, Laura Pitts, and Gamer Fan. And I've also realized I just stepped in the iced tea that I spilled. I forgot to clean it up right before I pressed record. So I've got a wet sock. So that's happening. Let's see. Special shout-outs to the Joe Teague, as always, and my boy Stitch. I have no idea what episode number we are at, but we got to be getting close. We got to be getting damn close to the 300th episode. Let me find out exactly what number are we at? Where am I at? What's going on? What's happening, people? I'm all kinds of discombobulated here. Look. I know, realistically, we are way past the 300th episode in actual total episodes, but I don't count the live episodes. We're on this will be episode 284. Man, we're moving through it. I like it. Quick, not a sponsor drink from my Hint coconut water. It's coconutty. Let's see. Let's do a paranormal news / paranormal promotion because I haven't done a paranormal promotion for a while, and I really, really think it's cool, and I want to do one. Again, my goal here is to promote the paranormal community. I want us to all rise together. There's no reason for infighting unless if you're a douchebaggins, then that's on you. But the rest of the paranormal community, let's rise together. So in the first, little while here, paranormal promotions. I know I had a theme song for it. I don't know where it's at. I suppose maybe I could try and find it real quick. I suppose I should do this right. Let's find the paranormal promotions. I made a song, right? Oh, I do. Yeah, here we go. Maybe. Theoretically. It's happening. It's coming. Here it is. Paranormal promotions. I just wanna be cool with everyone. Paranormal promotions. I wanna promote all of your spooky stuff. Paranormal promotions, let me plug your spooky stuff. Paranormal promotions, invite me next time. I wanna go to your haunted house. Got a haunted house, got a haunted tour, got an evil doll. Let me plug it all because we're all cool and we're into it. Yeah, I forgot how I dig that. That's a dumb song, and I really like it. So the paranormal promotion for this episode is Rolling Hills Asylum is having an Easter Extravagosta. That's right, an Easter Extravagosta on April 19th, 2025 from 6 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. That's right, an adult Easter egg hunt. Hold on. I got to get back to this for a minute. Hell yeah, adult Easter egg hunts. Every year, I used to do a Zombie Jesus Day adult Easter egg hunt at my tiny little place that, knock on wood, I'm still at for the current time being, in the backyard. And here was the deal. You came over to the house. It's been like 20 years since I've done one. Hopefully I'll have a backyard where I can do one wherever I end up in the world. Or maybe I can go to a friend's house and do it. But I really like this idea. It was a Zombie Jesus Easter egg hunt. You came over. We got drunk, just eating food, cheeses, and drink, and just drunk until everybody that wanted to participate was blowing a .08 or higher on the little breathalyzer thing. Now you're drunk. Now it's a drunken Easter egg hunt, and I'd have all the Easter eggs hidden, and it'd be stupid things and prizes and toys and shit from your childhood that you haven't seen in like 60 years. Not your childhood. I didn't go back in time and steal like your toy when you were a kid, but you know what I'm saying. But it was a lot of fun. Should really do one again. But until I do it, go to the Rolling Hills Asylum Easter Extravagosta, April 19th, 2025 from 6 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Hunt the haunted halls of the asylum. Damn it, this sounds cool. To find the Easter eggs. Redeem for chances to win Easter baskets valued from $25 up to $150. A golden egg wins a $200 gift certificate to Rolling Hills Asylum. Since I just butchered that, I'm going to repeat it. Golden Egg wins you a $200 gift certificate to Rolling Hills Asylum. They didn't ask me to do this one. They didn't ask me to promote this one. It just sounds so flippin' cool that I have to do it. The ticket includes Easter egg hunt, catered dinner, individual Easter gift bag, the opportunity to win Easter baskets, plus a self-guided ghost hunt at Rolling Hills Asylum. Hell yeah, Rolling Hills. This is what this promotion thing is all about. It sounds cool as hell. Get your tickets now. The event always sells out. Go to rollinghillsasylum.com. Go to the calendar. Find April 19th. I assume it's going to be the only thing that when you find that, but it's right there. It's in the calendar. It's easy to find. Boom, buy your tickets. Damn it, this sounds cool. I love everything about this. Seriously, not being paid, not being even asked to promote it, but that is cool as hell. Alrighty, but with that, we got to get into paranormal news because we got to keep this show going. There's something in here. What was that? It's time for Paranormal News. That's right, the first story in Paranormal News. Congressman says he believes aliens have underwater bases. Kurt here. Yeah, they do. We all know this. But Representative Tim Burchett said Wednesday he believes aliens have underwater bases on Earth. I just think traveling light years, I think it happens. I think it's possible in the vastness of God's great universe. I mean, light years, you know, the light from those stars that we see at night left there before the time of Christ. Good Lord, get to your point. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I got a text. I'm sure it's, this is the worst quote ever. Why are you quoting this guy? But no, sorry. I am not up for a walk. I am too busy doing an episode. In April, anyhow, Burchett implied in the wake of a classified briefing on unidentified anomalous phenomena that the government is purposely concealing information on them to the American public. Kurt here, yeah, they really are. He says, there are tens of millions of dollars that we've spent investigating these things. We've had departments tell us that they have recovery units, but they won't release full reports. Everything is covered up. Yeah. Then he goes on to talk about how he thinks that they have these, and again, yeah, they do. Everybody that's in the paranormal community or the UFO community agrees with this. So let's move on. I got lots to get to. Jeremy Corbell's 2027 UFO threat warning, disinformation or disclosure. So I've been talking about this one. I actually went back and looked. I wanted to see how long I've been talking about this one. And I've been talking about this 2027 UFO threat warning that is supposed to start in 2025. I've been talking about this since 2023 in paranormal news. It's been talked about a lot. It's been coming a lot. Not a lot of information. I would eventually like to do a full 2027 UFO warning episode, but unless I'm interviewing like a Jeremy Corbell or maybe a couple other people like Barber or whatever the hell his name is, there's not a lot of people that can tell me more or make a full episode out of it. So for right now, you're going to have to just, sit confidently with paranormal news and listen to this. Maybe. Come on. Here we go. Jeremy Corbell from UFO Revelation Season 2. Jeremy's looking at me. I'm looking at him.
Your government now wants you to know one truth, and that truth is that UFOs are real. They've already told you. Sometimes when you want somebody to know
they already told you
a truth, it's so you can set them up to believe a lie. And that's coming. I have zero doubt that lie is coming.
What is the lie?
Specifically, you want me to say it right now, for real? Real? On camera? To be put in the show?
Yes.
Okay. Problem with that. If we tell the lie before it's told, they can adapt. That wouldn't be wise. I'll tell you privately, but I would really think about if you want to put this in your show.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. Again, as I just said, this has been in the news since 2023. It's been talked about since at least 2023. Actually, it goes back to the 1960s to Project Bluebeam, but I'm talking about in the more recent news. This is not a Jeremy Corbell exclusive, apart from the fact that he says it is not disclosure that's coming in 2027. It is full disinformation. All right, I'll continue it.
For real. That's a real thing, I'm telling you. So will you think about it before putting it in your show?
Absolutely.
Okay. So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time.
Yep.
And that's the truth.
Yeah. Yep.
But the lie is coming.
The lie is?
All indications, like all of them,
Okay.
is that that lie
Is
going to be that there is a craft
There we go.
slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe.
All right. So I don't have to play the rest of the 3 minutes plus of it. You get the idea. I actually did a big thing about this lie a few episodes back about this disinformation that is all over Reddit. And it really is all over Reddit. There are people that are, quote, UFO experts who say, we are tracking, the James Webb Telescope is tracking a UFO coming into our solar system now. And it's impossible. We don't have the technology to do that. It's been proven that that's bullshit. So, yeah, this story is still happening. This disinformation is still happening like crazy on Reddit and a couple of the UFO forums. They really are. They're talking about how it's 100% true. This craft is like 10 times the size of America or whatever the hell dimensions it is. It's pitch black and it's altering, it's maneuvering, it's altering courses. They're watching it alter courses to head straight for Earth to kill us or to kill the other aliens or to kill, it just depends on where you get your info or disinfo. But yeah, this story's been going on for quite a while. Look, something is happening in 2027 dealing with UFOs. Something is coming very soon in 2025. All indications say either full disclosure or the next step in disclosure or something big in the UFO community is going to happen in 2025. It's going to happen very soon. Mark my words, I've said this before. But I don't think disclosure is the one thing. It's not going to be just one thing. It's going to be little by little, like we've talked about. And again, there used to be a time when I would do paranormal news where I could find 2 news stories. Now I have to pick from what UFO stories I want to talk about because there are so many of them. So many of them, in fact. Let's get into the next one. The next story in paranormal news is UFO whistleblowers expose 80-year-old cover-up of the existence of alien life in a new documentary. I'm very excited for this documentary. I've not watched it yet. It's called The Age of Disclosure by filmmaker Dan Farah. It premiered at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas this March. It will premiere, this March. There are some press copies going around, or there's leaked copies going around, because I know people in the industry that have actually seen this. I'm very excited to see it. He says that UFO whistleblowers are set to expose an 80-year cover-up on the existence of non-human existence in an upcoming documentary. Sorry, that's the terribly worded article, not me, not him. Approximately 34 current and former senior members of the U.S. government, military, and intelligence communities are also set to disclose details about a worldwide race to reverse engineer alien technology. Again, Kurt here, that's already happened. We know it's already happened. The congressional hearings have proven that that's already happened. It's not a surprise to anybody. It's not going to be a surprise to me. But the film claims there's been an 80-year cover-up of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence and a secret war among nations racing to reverse engineer UFO technology, one that the U.S. has been a key player in. Let's see. In the trailer released Wednesday, former staff director of the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Christopher Mellon, said, "This is the biggest discovery in human history." Yeah, it would be. If we can actually get the evidence and get the facts and the people that actually are in the know and the documents, it really would be. But he said, it's coming, and this movie's going to prove it. Hey, I'm here for it. Let's do it. I cannot wait. I'm all here for it. Speaking of weird UFOs, a white egg UFO mystery has recently popped up on the internet. The story's changing so dramatically from the very first story that popped up on 4chan, which, if 4chan is your source, it immediately is a huge red flag to me. Huge red flag. The most disinformation outside of QAnon is 4chan, and guess what? QAnon came from 4chan. And the story has changed so dramatically that I don't buy it, but this white egg UFO mystery has actually been defended by former senior intelligence official Luis Elizondo. That's right. Y'all know who he is. Y'all know Lou Elizondo. He says, the clearest footage ever of an egg-shaped, unidentified, anomalous phenomena has been released by a whistleblower who has claimed we're not alone. U.S. Air Force veteran Jake Barber said that he came within 150 feet of the UAP while he was flying a military helicopter. He said a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that I kind of believe. This one I don't. He described the object as unlike any man-made craft he's ever seen. During the program, night vision footage shot by Barber was released, which allegedly shows the UAP suspended from a 150-foot line as the aircraft gently lowered its cargo to the ground. I've seen the footage. There is nothing to determine how big this UFO is, how big this line is. It could literally be an egg on the bottom of a line the way it's shot. I don't trust the footage. I kind of trust Jake Barber. I would like to talk to him. I'd really like to talk to him. But The footage that's being released, it's so sketchy looking. He said there was no engine. There was no thermal signature. I was operating at night when I finally came in to pick it up. So I'm working under night vision goggles at the time, and it was quite clear. I flipped them up, flipped them down, and looked at it a couple of different ways. He said it was a metallic, pearly white object about the size of an SUV. I can tell you the reaction by my team. We all knew we were dealing with something extraordinary. But that footage it's an egg. It's just of an egg. I don't know what to say about that footage. I think the footage is fake. His story might be real, but the footage is fake. You can find it. It's all out there. It's an egg. Now, on Reddit, they said that there was no markings. Then all of a sudden they said, hey, there was tons of markings, and they're all like hieroglyphics, like Roswell, and here they are. So the story's changing too dramatically, too quickly, that I don't buy it. Up next in paranormal news, America's top Bigfoot hunter says, I've seen him. So have 80,000 other people. More than 1 in 10 Americans believe the Sasquatch is real. It's not our fault the pictures are bad, says Matt Moneymaker, a veteran witness and an expedition organizer. That's right, Matt Moneymaker has been concealed in his hiding place for hours when the sound of footsteps broke the silence on an Ohio night. It says of an Ohio night, but it's on an Ohio night. Through the trees, partially illuminated by moonlight, emerged what he describes as a dark, hairy, ape-like creature about 8 feet tall and walking on 2 legs. It was, according to Moneymaker, the elusive Bigfoot. I just got a message. I'm going to pause real quick. I got a message recently saying, can you stop it with the stupid sound effects? The whole and, okay, people hate the sound effects. They're fucking dumb. It's Paranormal Almanac used to be good. Stop with the sound effects. To that I say, anyhow, the Sasquatch, said by believers to inhabit forests across North America, retains a special place in the popular imagination, one of the most enduring myths in the United States. That's right. He says 80,000 people, reputable witnesses, have seen Bigfoot. So something's out there. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's something happening here. Alrighty, up next in paranormal news, aliens are far more likely to exist than the Loch Ness Monster, not a monster, says this scientist. Hey, dude, back the hell up. He says University of Oxford professor of zoology Tim Coulson has recently written a book called The Universal History of Us, a 13.8 billion year tale from the Big Bang until now. Kurt here, I bet you any money it is not a detailed book going over the entire 13.8 billion years. How thick would this book have to be, man? It's like a billion years, a billion pages, like 1 page a year, 1 page every billion years. Come on, no, man. Your book isn't in depth. You suck. I'm just mad that he said there's no Loch Ness monster. Kurt here, not a monster. But he did say science can never say with 100% that the Loch Ness monster does not exist, but there's a very low likelihood. Ditto with things like Bigfoot and the Yeti. This guy's going after everybody. I'm going to fight this dude. He says the reason for that is quite straightforward. People have been out there with their fishing nets, and people have been argued that this is a type of marine reptile, possibly a plesiosaur. Okay? Yeah, and people have seen it. People have seen weird shit, dude. I'm not saying there's a billion freaking Nessies out there, but there could be a few. And I personally, I've never seen a blue whale, a sperm whale, a humpback whale. I've only seen an orca is what I'm trying to say. But I believe these exist. There's just not a ton of them. I've been to the ocean many times. I've looked out there. I've never seen one, so I can't go, you don't believe in whales. So, suck it, dude. He does say, I'm not going to rule out aliens. So, good on him, I guess. Look, man. The whole thing about science is you can't say something doesn't exist without proof that something doesn't exist. And that's very rare in science terms. Alrighty, up next, paranormal news. That guy pissed me off. I'm moving on. Haunted Texas hotel up for sale stars in paranormal TV. The couple who've owned it for 9 years is confident it'll sell soon. That's right. From across the hall and out of the dark, a childlike, tinny voice chirped through the silence. Can you dress me, Mommy? Nope. Nope. Look, ghost kids are creepy as shit enough. You don't have to say creepy things, ghost kids. He goes on to say, I looked up from my camera. I'd been kneeling in the Bonnie and Clyde room at the Old Park Hotel, angling to photograph a mannequin dressed as 1920s bank robber Bonnie Parker. In the doorway, owner Dan LaFave chuckled, nervously looking over his shoulder. I told you, I have chills. That's the way it happened. Yeah, it's creepy as shit, dude. I stood, turned on my phone's video recorder, and returned to the room we had just left, one filled with dozens of life-size children's dolls. Nope. There is no reason for that doll to go off like that, he said as I stepped past him. Lots of people love these kind of dolls. Many have fond memories of... Look, Kurt here. Do not send me some creepy old fucking life-size doll that says, will you change me, mommy, or whatever the hell it said. Will you dress me, mommy? No. Fuck, no. Come on, man. The place, the Old Park Hotel, circa 1886, which at this moment is up for sale. Let me get to the nitty-gritty here. They talk a lot about these dolls. He says another doll said, I love you, mommy, before he left that room. No, thank you. How much is it for sale? Let's find out. Oh boy, this is a lot about dolls. This is a lot about dolls. Still more doll talk. For sale, here we go. After 9 years, Dan and Connie are considering selling the Park Hotel. The reason, simply, that it's time to move on. They love the life and the place their hotel now has within pop culture, but there's so many hours in the day and so many days in our lives. Part of it's my age, part of it's the fact we work regular jobs, part of it, we're looking at retiring. Kurt here, part of it's creepy fucking dolls. So, he says the going price? About $175,000 to $250,000, which, I gotta admit, that's freaking cheap for a 10,000 square foot haunted hotel. Like, way cheap. He says it's gonna be hard selling this place, don't get me wrong. It's not an easy decision, but it's one for the best. He says the new owner would get 99% of everything in the hotel, minus a few sentimental items. Even Alex the cat stays. Oh, that's pretty sad. I mean, I guess Alex the cat is, set in his ways, but that's sad. He said the building's pretty solid. It stood here for a long time for a reason. In many different ways, it's a gem for someone to have. All right, so add that to my list of shit that I want to own. Got to win the lotto. Abilene, Texas? Is that where it's at? Is that what it said? I forgot. I'm going to go back up to the top where he stopped before he started talking about dolls. Yeah, Abilene, Texas. All right, I got to look into this. I got to find out about the Old Park Hotel in Texas. And see, is it near anything or is it just out in the middle of nowhere, Texas? Yeah, it seems to be right there in the middle of shit. Ballinger, Texas, 107th South 6th Street, Ballinger, Texas. I don't know what Ballinger, Texas is like, but hey, if you guys are in the market and you got $175,000 to $250,000, seems like a really creepy hotel, and you get a bunch of creepy old dolls for free. Don't send any of those to me. Up next in paranormal news, Adele thwarted sale of haunted £6 million house, says the owner. That's right, the Adele, I don't have to go into who she is, has been accused of sabotaging the sale of a $6 million mansion. £6 million mansion she used to live in by its owners, who claim she once said it was haunted. You know what? That's the story. I don't have to go into it any farther than that. It's crazy cool, but I got one more story. It's a little bit of an older story, but I wanted to make sure I got to it. It's from November 23rd. Okay, go away. A beautiful palace on sale for £15 million, but a terrifying curse goes along with it. That's right, a stunning palace on a major canal in Venice is up for sale for the impressive sum of £15 million. But it's known by locals for a chilling reason. It's cursed. How cool would that be to live on the Venice canals in a cursed palace, if you will? Let's see. Let me get to the palace. I know about the canals. We all know about that. The Caldeo Palazzo. Sure. Caldeo Palazzo? I don't know. It was built in 1479 for Venetian diplomat Giovanni Dario and covers an area of 1,000 square meters. Spread over 5 floors, it boasts marble floors, a 170-meter garden, which is a rarity in Venice, and an internal Moorish fountain. There have been many theories surrounding the original foundations of the building, the most famous being that it sits on top of Templar Cemetery. Ooh, that's cool. That's cool. Today, estate agents acknowledge that it has a haunted past. After Giovanni Dario's death, his daughter Marietta and husband Vincenzo moved into the house. He was stabbed to death, and, overcome with grief, she committed suicide in the house. Their son was later killed in the house in an ambush. What? In 1972, Kit Lambert bought the property for £115,000, 3 years later after the release of The Who's seminal album, Tommy. Is Kit Lambert part of The Who? Who's Kit Lambert? Whatever, doesn't matter. He was reportedly drawn to the palace's reputation as a house of ill omen, but after moving in, told friends he would often sleep somewhere else to, quote, escape the ghost that haunted him. In 2002, The Who's bass guitarist John Entwistle rented the building for a holiday, but he died in a Nevada hotel only 1 week later from a heart attack. That is cool. All right, screw the hotel. I mean, buy me the hotel too. But if you're going to buy me the hotel, can you at least try and get me this freaking palace on Venice? That's cool as hell looking. Anyhow, if you got 15 million pounds laying around, you probably also have 15 million pounds plus $250,000 laying around. You can buy both. So there you go. All righty, let's, for merch, head on over to tpublic.com/stores/paranormal-almanac. That's tpublic.com/stores/paranormal-almanac. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. That's right. We're back. As I said in the intro a little bit, this is an episode I've been working on and off since before March 14th, 2020, because that's when the patrons got an exclusive exorcism episode. You should go and listen to that. I personally really like that episode, but I wanted to really deep dive the Catholic Church and I guess the Vatican, put them together, and how exorcism started and then kind of changed through the years. Now, this deep dive episode took me, well, a really long time, 4 years, 5 years, through a ton of rabbit holes, including me reading ancient books. No kidding. I really did. Well, as much as I could, because most are written in Italian and other languages. But I'm not a frog and you're not a bunny, so let's not jump ahead. I did pay for the academia dissertations on some of the original Exorcists, so you don't have to. I'll tell you about those. I emailed the Catholic Church. This one I can spoil for you. Their response was, they do not discuss exorcisms or the exorcists who perform them. Big shock there. But I really, really wanted to deep dive this episode. So I would work on it a little bit, and then I would put it away because I didn't want to rush it. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I watched this amazing TV show called Evil. It's a little bit of an older TV show. Absolutely incredible. I'm so bummed I didn't watch it from the get-go. Mike Coulter of Luke Cage. Fantastic show. It's got, well, hold on. Let me read you the cast because it's so worth, it is so good, they are worth being the shout-outs. Katja Herbers, who... oh, my Lord, am I in love with Katja Herbers now. Not only for her incredible work on Evil, but she is an activist for climate change, against climate change, obviously. Brilliant woman. And following her on social media made me love her even more than I already did from watching this show, because she was so good. Andrea Martin, phenomenal as Sister Andrea. Michael Emerson, who I loved in one of my favorite TV shows ever, Lost, fantastic in this too. Like I said, Mike Coulter's in this. Christine Lottie is fantastic. Peter Scolari, one of my favorite people that I've ever had the pleasure of kind of working with. If I've never told you my Peter Scolari story, I'll tell it somewhere down the line. Now's not the time. Asif Manvi, fan-flippin-tastic. Kurt Fuller's awesome. He was in Ghostbusters. He's great. Wallace Shawn. I mean, this is a phenomenal cast and just a brilliant TV show. It was created by Robert King and Michelle King, and I pray that I could get them on my show because they must have deep dived, them and the writers must have deep dived the paranormal and demons so much because a lot of the stuff that was on there is stuff that I've talked about on the show in, some way, shape, or form brilliantly. And that show sparked I got to get back into that exorcism episode. I got to get back into there. I got to do it justice. And I hope that I kind of do it justice. Now, it's not going to be 100% of exorcism. It's just there's too much. There's just too much information in there. So I'm going to be kind of skipping through the years. But like I said, I finally dusted it off. And for the most part, I'm really happy with this outline. So it means it's time to talk religion. No. Nah. Yeah, there you go. It's time to talk religion because, okay, shut up. Nothing bad ever happens when I talk politics or religion. I never get death threats. I never lose listeners or get hate mail. Now, never. So let's have some fun. Let's talk not only religion, but the Catholic Church. Yeah, it's going to get interesting. But before I begin, let's do this. If you've ever watched Supernatural, you heard that they do an exorcism. They do it on a lot of the episodes. They exorcise demons. And you might have thought, like I did, hey, that sounds like real Latin. And they always say the same thing. So what up with that? Well, if you watch it with closed captions, it'll bring up the Latin that they're saying when they exorcise a demon. And you'll see them say, fun fact, here's where in the episode where Kurt's going to say something wrong. You'll hear them say, Exorcizamos te omnis immundas spiritus, omnis satanica potestas, omnis incursio infernalis adversari, omnis legio, omnis congratiato, et secta diabolica. You know what? Screw it. Hold on. Listen to this lady say it.
It is amazing. They used to have collagen.
Nope, that's not it. That is a commercial for some bullshit. Here, hold on.
You don't know what
shut up. Listen to this.
Exorcizamos te, omnis immundus spiritus, omnis satanica potestas, omnis incursio infernalis adversari, omnis legio, omnis congregatio et secta diabolica, ergo, draco maledicte, ecclesiam tuam securi tibi facias libertate severe, te rogamus, audi nos.
Yeah, and it means we exorcise you. Every impure spirit, every satanic power, every incursion of the infernal adversary, every legion, every congregation, and diabolical sect. And it's kind of an actual exorcism. As crazy as it is, Supernatural did its research and got, Todd and I talked about this a long time ago. Jamie and Elijah Hendrickson, Todd, talked about this a long time ago, that they really did their work with, demon names and some of the stuff in the Latin. They definitely did it with this. They really did. But here is the Google translated updated version, so you can hear both before we actually get into this.
Exorcizamus te, omnis immunda donaldus, omnis satanica potestas, omnis incursio infernalis adversarii, nomine tuba vel musco, omnis legio, omnis congregatio, omnis ilon et secta diabolica. Tuba donaldus esto et in inferno ardes. Exorcizamus te, omnis immunda donald.
Okay, thank you. I didn't mean to press it twice, but there you go. So, all right, with that, you all have that memorized right now. We're safe to start talking shit about demons now, right? Again, any demon that happens to be a patron, that wasn't directed towards you. It's not directed towards any of my listeners unless you happen to be a demon and you want to be exorcised, or you're a person that's possessed and you want to be exorcised. But with that, we're good, right? We can start. Let's jump in. Let's talk about the Vatican's own exorcists. The guys that pretty much every Exorcist movie has ever been based on. And I'm talking from The Exorcist all the way to Ernest Goes to Exorcist School. So that's both ends of the spectrum of exorcism movies. Like, you know that Russell Crowe movie where he's like riding around in a little Vespa and he's talking in a bad Italian accent? Based on a real exorcism. Real exorcist. The real deals of the Catholic Church. And what they did, what they saw, how they wrote about it, how they created the exorcism guidelines, and a little bit, maybe if we get to it time-wise, on what they fought. We'll see if we have time for that. But I figured, since my numbers have plummeted to the worst my podcast has ever had, Kurt here, no joke, that's a fact. Something happened in the past 3 months that has tanked my podcast to the point where I was contemplating, do I keep doing this podcast? Nobody's listening. And I mean nobody. So why not talk hardcore about religion and let's see what happens then. Also, if you haven't, can you please go like and subscribe and please leave a review because honestly, I have never seen my downloads this bad before. It every bit helps. I'm talking like hardcore regular listeners who I've talked to and be like, hey, did you listen to last week's episode? And they're like, oh, no, I haven't listened to it. I haven't listened to it in a few months now. Oh, am I doing something bad? Oh, I don't know. I just, I kind of got bored with it. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. So let's start at the beginning. Before the Catholic Church established guidelines for exorcisms, they did that in 1614. We have to go back to grimoires. What are grimoires? Well, let's go to Wiki. A grimoire is a textbook of magic, typically including instructions on how to create magical objects like talismans and amulets, how to perform magical spells, charms, and divination, and how to summon or invoke supernatural entities such as angels, spirits, deities, and demons. That's right, actually summoning them. These books, these grimoires, were more about using the supernatural, creating magical objects, performing magical spells, and summoning everything from an angel to a demon. It's actually thought that these books themselves, the original grimoires, which unfortunately not that many survived, I'll get to that in a minute, but these books themselves are believed to be imbued with magical powers. The only contents found in a grimoire would be information on spells, rituals, the preparation of magical tools, a list of ingredients, and their magical correspondence. So, while all books on magic could be thought of as grimoires, they're really not. But these grimoires are books on real, pure magic. And these grimoires were actually found all around the world, including books made by famous people, if you will. Because here's something I learned. Moses, yeah, that Moses, he knew magic. Not like pull a dove out of your ass type of magic trick. Although, I will say, I'll give any magician that pulls a dove out of someone's ass on stage, I'd give them a 5-star review if you could do that, because that's an impressive magic trick. But no, I'm talking about real magic. Magic with a CK at the end of it. Black magic, if you will, some people call it. That Moses, he was like a magic-making motherfucker there. 2 manuscripts, likely dating to the 4th century, both of which purport to be the legendary 8th book of Moses. That's right. There is this mysterious 8th book of Moses that's supposedly out there. There's 2 manuscripts. The first 5 books of Moses being the initial books in the biblical Old Testament. These other ones, though, present him as a polytheist. Polytheist? Sure. Polytheist? That is the believe in or worship of more than one God. Yeah, the Moses. He said he believed in and worshiped more than one God and would summon things, including how to conjure gods and subdue demons. What the crap? Talk more about this, people. That's the movie about Moses I want to see. I could give a crap that he comes down off a rock with some tablets saying, thou shalt not kill. How about comes down from the mountain with a tablet that says, I just conjured a god and subdued a demon. That's cool as hell, man. But yeah, Moses had his own grimoires. And then grimoires, well, I won't spoil what happened to grimoires. Let me move on. Then we moved to some guy named Jesus. So I guess we're going to jump backwards, technically, to some guy named Jesus. Back to Jesus. We're moving back to AD 70, which is weird because isn't that like 40 years after his death? Or is that 70 years after his death? Because it's Anno Domini after death. 70 years? Whatever. Doesn't matter. At least 40 years after his death. But that's when it was written, Jesus casts out evil spirits in the Gospel of Mark. The first 4 books in the New Testament of the Bible, known as the Gospels, tell the story of Jesus. Hopefully you know this dude. And Jesus actually does exorcisms. He said that Jesus' exorcisms were evidence of his authority over the devil. It described exorcisms of humans, but also of animals that were possessed by demons, including pigs, which, again, I'm not that up on my Bible reading, but I don't remember that in catechism or Sunday school. If in Sunday school they were going to say, like, all right, instead of like painting two popsicle sticks into like taping together into a cross, and we're going to paint it, and you're going to give it to your mom afterwards. Instead, let's talk about Jesus and some demon pigs. I would have paid attention to that one. But they talk about Jesus and his grimoires on how to get past evil or how to outcast evil. Okay, well, let's keep jumping ahead. We'll jump to 1526 because, again, if I go year to year, starting at the year 70, this episode's going to take a long while. So we're going to go to 1526, and that's when Martin Luther adds exorcism to baptismal rites. Yeah. He was angered and disillusioned by the Catholic Church. He was trying to figure out how to, make it his own deal. So he wrote a list of his complaints about the religion, which may or may not have been nailed to the door of his university's church in 1517. That's debated. I don't want to talk about it. That's where I grew up, was Lutheran. That's where that came from. But it got him excommunicated from the Catholic Church by the Pope himself. He became a Lutheran. Kurt grew up to be a Lutheran. I was kind of fine with it because, they didn't give a shit if you masturbated. Anyhow, he was very prolific in the printing press and the written word, and this included publishing his Order of Baptism in 1523, following by a 1526 revision that added exorcism to the Protestant baptismal rites. In this instance, infant exorcism was done to help the baby reject the devil, sin, and evil throughout their lifetime, rather than cast out a demonic presence. So it's basically like a pre-exorcism. Chances are you're going to be evil somewhere in your life. You're going to do bad shit. I'm going to give you this pre-exorcism so you won't get possessed. All righty. Skipping ahead a little bit. Let's get to Christianity when that became the dominant faith of the Roman Empire. That's when the early church actually frowned upon the propagation of grimoires, those books of magic, because they connected it with paganism. And what did they do? They burnt the books of magic. That sucks. Can you imagine finding and reading an ancient grimoire on magic? Or a book written by Moses on summoning gods and demons? I mean, look, we all know the Vatican kept some and probably have them in the tunnels under the Vatican, but the chances of the host of Paranormal Almanac getting an invite to the archives now is slim to Noah. So this next part tells you why it took me so long to do this episode. We talk about the New Testament records that it talks about an unsuccessful exorcism by the 7 sons of Sceva. What? Who? All right. The 7 sons of Sceva. Where is it? Oh my God, where's my little note about Sceva? Well, basically, he had 7 sons. Here we go. I'm going to do a really brief recap rabbit hole about this dude named Sceva, who might have been a Jewish chief priest, but that's debated and I don't care. But according to the books of Acts of the Apostles, he had 7 sons who attempted to exorcise a demon from a man in the town of Ephesus. by using the name of Jesus as an invocation. Theoretically, this is the oldest known exorcism using Jesus' name that's written about anyway. Kind of, and I say kind of because this practice is very similar to the Jewish practice, which originated in the Testament of Solomon, of invoking angels to cast out demons. So this kind of advice was adopted on a larger scale after the Christian ascent to power. So basically, here's what happened. They went, instead of using angels to cast out demons, we got to talk about this dude Jesus. We're making him our main guy. So even though it makes sense that you use angels to cast out demons because demons are fallen angels, and for every demon, there's an angel that's his counterpart that fights him. Look, if I keep going down that rabbit hole, it would be a whole episode, so I'll just leave that part there. But I want to get back to angels and demons in a future episode, don't worry. So basically, Christianity was like, we're going to use our main man, Jesus, now. Anytime you want to cast out a demon out of somebody, you got to talk about Jesus or God and not just angels. So they changed it. And this dude, Skiva, his 7 sons, all 7 of them attempted to exorcise a demon from a man, were using Jesus' name. And it was written about. And it was a big deal for them. It was a big win for Christianity, if you will. So basically, we are up to Christianity taking over the modern world for the most part, changing angels, outing demons, to Jesus or God doing it. But before we get to that magical date of 1614, when, like I said earlier, the Catholic Church established the official guidelines for how to oust demons, basically, it is the beginnings of modern-day exorcisms. I got to make a quick stop at 1607. All right, we're in 1607. I want to talk briefly about Carlo Borromeo, who is the Archbishop of Milan. Now, he was the Archbishop of Milan from 1564 to 1584, who wrote the 21 Guidelines to Exorcisms. I'm going to read you the 21 Guidelines to Exorcisms as written by Carlo Borromeo, the Archbishop of Milan, an exorcist back in the 1600s. I paid $10 to buy a digital copy of a really bad book that basically anything, whatever you could possibly look around and point at, they would call it a demon. Yoga, demon. Lotto, well, that's gambling. That's a demon. Stuffed animal, that's an effigy. That's a demon. Bottled water, it's not natural, it's plastic. That's a demon. Doritos, they're just demons. Like everything in this fucking book was a demon. But I paid $10, so you don't have to. So you don't have to, basically. But here we go. The 21 Guidelines to Exorcisms. Guideline 1. Boy, I wish I planned this out better. I would have number 1. Guideline 1 is a priest must have written permissions to do an exorcism. By whom? Well, back then, it was by basically anybody. By the person who's possessed, by someone who's a family member, by someone walking by down the street, really, they'd be like, I don't know, that guy sounds possessed. Here's my name. You go take care of that guy. Number 2, the priest should be learned in all forms of exorcisms, which by now I am. I am learned in a lot of forms of exorcisms now. Number 3, he should not easily believe a person is possessed. So, if you show up and say, hey, are you possessed? And they go, yeah. You should go, are you sure you're possessed? And they go, no, yeah, I'm possessed. They're like, wait, really? You're possessed? And they're like, 100% possessed. And they're like, okay, now I believe you. Honestly, that's what this thing is getting at. Number 4, and here comes the word of the day, people. I was really excited to learn this back in the day, and I forgot it. I relearned it when I reopened up this outline. The priest should ask the energumen. Energumen. E-N-E-R-G-U-M-E-N. Energumen, who is a person believed to be possessed by the devil or a demon. Energumen. Can you use that in a sentence, please? The energumen was possessed by the devil. Energumen. 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 Ding. How cool is that word? How is that word not used more often? But he should ask the energumen, again, the person possessed, what they've experienced. Why do they think they're possessed? Then ask, hey, what was the most effective thing against the demon? Sounds like cheating to me. Sounds like you're asking him to give you the answer on how to get rid of a demon. But sure, let's keep it going. We're only at number 4. Number 5, be on the guard against deception. Be aware of mumbling, deceptive answers by the demon, and the demon trying to bore or tire the exorcist out. So basically, it's like talking to somebody else's teenager, where it's just a bunch of mumbling, a bunch of dumb answers, or them not answering you, or them trying to bore the shit out of you, talking about some stupid new thing, or what's Riz. That's a fucking demon. Number 6, if the person seems free, keep going. That's right. Even if the person seems like, oh, wait, no, demon left. Keep going until you see the signs of deliverance, which, fun fact, are not described anywhere. I looked for a full day to find out what is the signs of deliverance according to Carlo Borromeo in his 21 Guidelines to Exorcism. It doesn't fucking exist. So I guess, my guess only, but keep doing the exorcism until you hear the banjo song from the movie Deliverance. That is the sign of deliverance. Number 7, the demon will try to make the person not come to the exorcism. So, I guess don't say, hey, Todd, I know you're possessed. Can you please come to my house on Saturday for a fun exorcism? Please. Number 7 also says the demon may make the person seem like they fell asleep. Don't fall for it. Okay, all of this seems really basic, right? You're not going to, what demon is going to be like, can you please come over here, do an exorcism, please? Come on, just come over, let me do an exorcism on you. Why are you being so mean? Number 8. The energumen, remember that word? Yeah. Should not go to sorcerers or necromancers. All right. Again, seems like common sense for them not to seek out a sorcerer. But, hey, if you can find a sorcerer nowadays that's not just some kid that's Disney-bounding idiot for influencer bullshit, I say go for it. Find yourself a sorcerer-possessed person. Screw number 8. Number 9. Sometimes the demon pretends to leave, and the person can even have communion. Don't fall for it. How? I don't know. How are you not going to fall for it? When do you honestly know the demon's left? No idea. Maybe number 10 will tell us. Kurt here, it won't. Number 10. The exorcist should pray and do it fast. Speed is important. Why? Maybe 11 will tell us. Number 11, the exorcism should take place in a church or a holy place and away from crowds. So, no exorcisms at Disneyland while he's there trying to find some Disney-bounding sorcerer. Number 12, the energumen should also pray. Why or how would someone possessed be praying along with you? Doesn't say. Oh, and also, not just pray, but they have to pray fast too. Apparently, it's like exorcise a demon in 30 minutes or less, or the next exorcism is free, but they never tell you why you have to do everything so fast. Number 13, the exorcist should have a crucifix. And if you can get one, you should also have a relic of a saint. But the Eucharist is not to be used in an exorcism. Kurt here, step 9 mentions communion, which is the Eucharist. Look, Carlo, you really should have proofread these guidelines because number 13 goes against number 9, but whatever. Number 14, do not ask superfluous questions. Superfluous, I said the word right. You guys, you misheard me. Do not ask superfluous questions. So, no asking them what they thought about the Seinfeld finale episode. Got it. Oh, wait, there's more to step 14. Also, don't believe them if they say they are a dead person, a saint, or an angel. Okay? That seems like common possessed person shit. They always like all of a sudden start talking like your dead grandma who said like, I used to watch you masturbate when you were a baby, you know, whatever. So that seems like that's a good one. Number 14, I'm with you. Number 15, necessary questions. Okay. It gives us the necessary questions we need to perform an exorcism. Here we go. The number and names of the demons that is inside the person. That's your first question. Hey, how many demons are in you? Hey, what are the names of the demons that are in you? Hey, when did they enter you? Also, how did they enter you? And guess what? That are apparently all of the necessary questions to perform an exorcism, because that's all that's written in there. Number 16. Speak in a commanding voice with confidence, and when the demon appears in distress, pray harder. Kurt here. How do you pray harder? Isn't it just praying? What makes it hard praying? Also, I'll be honest, I Google searched hard praying, and nothing came up on Pornhub. Pornhub, you guys, come on. Step 17. Repeat the words or sections of the exorcism that seems to cause the demon the most distressed. Pray for 2 to 4 hours or more. Okay. So if you're reading something and he's like, I don't like it. Oh, read that part again. Keep reading that part over for 2 to 4 hours, apparently. Number 18. We're almost done. Don't worry, kids. Number 18. Do not give or recommend any medicine. Boom. Easy one. Number 19. When praying with a woman, have a female witness who holds the woman, and this is important. Do not allow anything inappropriate to happen. Kurt here. Sounds like Carlo fucked some possessed women back in his day, doesn't it? Come on, Carlo. Number 20. Do not make up your own prayers. No matter how catchy they are, you got to stick to the Holy Scripture and make the demon reveal if the person consumed a cursed object, and if they did, try to retrieve it and destroy it. Yeah, he fucked some possessed women. Number 21. This is it. Number 21, after they are freed for real. Kurt here, still no idea how you're supposed to know because they never tell you anything about how you're supposed to know it's for real. But after they are freed for real, know that they have to be careful not to fall back into sin or they can be possessed again. If you fall back into sin, you can be possessed again. There, I made it easy for you to remember that one. Whew. All right. Those are, those are some great rules that I'm sure I will have forgotten in about 5 minutes' time, except the one where you don't fuck a possessed woman. I got that. I remember that one. Hey, he never mentioned anything in the rules about fucking a possessed dude. Carlo, you rascal. That's it. Those are the guidelines that were written in the 1600s by Carlo Borromeo, the Archbishop of Milan. And, I got to pee. So in your time, it's going to take no time at all. But for me, it's going to take no time at all because I really have to pee. Hold on. I am back. I peed. I forgot most of the 21 rules, the 21 guidelines. But we now have the guidelines we can all use so that we can all be exorcists. So now let's jump in time to 1607. Very small jump in time to Milanese exorcist Zaccaria Visconti. And I gotta say, for one of the most leading exorcists who used and learned from Carlo, it is hard to find things out about this dude. In fact, almost everything I could find about this guy goes back to a couple of different books. One book called, it's a rare Venetian edition of the most important and influential work on exorcism and remedies against evil spirits by Zachariah Visconti himself. That's right. There is a very rare Venetian edition of this book that you can buy online if you're rich enough. Kurt here, I am not. All righty. So we're in Milan, just before Catholicism agrees on how to do exorcisms. People are out there, Carlo's teaching people, Zachariah's listening and learning from it and doing it. He is known as the professional exorcist from Milan. He belonged to the order of SS Barnaba e Ambrosio. And you might be going, who? And I'm going, come on, you know SS Barnaby e Ambrosio. Well, in case you don't, they're a company of secular priests founded by Carlo Borromeo. He taught the art of exorcism. He's referred to on the title page as a professor of the art of exorcism and perhaps maybe taught at the University of Pavia, because it's really hard to find things out about these dudes. In my opinion, honestly, the more I researched it, the more it seems like the Catholic Church has bought up all of these books or writings or manuscripts or anything about these guys to make it hard to find. But thankfully, some of these rare editions of this book, this main book that I'll tell you about in a second, still exist outside the Catholic Church, and that's how we know about these guys. Anyhow, so Zachariah flourished between the late 16th and early 17th century. He did an interesting treatise addressing all aspects of exorcism. He provided the theological and the theoretic framework for the practice of exorcism that we're going to get to in the Catholic Church, as well as a manual of instruction on techniques, prayers, formulas, rituals, and all sorts of remedies to treat and expel evil. That is cool. He tried to use medicine. Pardon me, I had to take a drink. He tried to use medicine to treat evil, to treat demonic possessions, because as I'm sure you all have guessed, not everybody back in the day was possessed. There was a lot of mental conditions, obviously, that caused people to seem possessed, and this guy was trying to use medicine to fix it. So, again, remember, you can exorcise people now using his work because, as pointed out in the initial dedication in this book, Visconti hoped that his books would help reduce the number of cases of demonic possession recently recorded in the Milan area. His work actually shared many similarities with other works on demons and the art of exorcisms from other Franciscan exorcists of that time and before him. He actually researched older exorcists, how they were doing things, and wrote his own work. It became a local reference, particularly in Italy, specifically in Milan. His work was printed by Lazarus Zetzner in Cologne in a collection of the 6 major works of the Franciscan exorcists in a single volume. It is called Thesaurus Exorcismorum. That's right, Thesaurus Exorcismorum, the Treasury of Exorcists. It was written in 1607. Again, this thing is described as the greatest compendium of exorcism manuals ever, because the Catholic Church burnt most of them. It's still around. You can still find one online. You can still find a few of them online, but this Venetian edition seems to be like the one to buy. It shares many similarities. It was to all religions, basically, including witchcraft. He often merged exorcism with counter-witchcraft, counter-spells, or witch spells, or witchcraft spells, and the demonstration of techniques on how to ward off demons or evil spirits if you think you're about to become possessed. He really put a lot of thought into keeping people from being possessed rather than just being there to exorcise demons when people were possessed. His body of work was distilled into a shorter exorcism ritual, and it was called the Ritual Romanum in 1612. And it was the church's official guide for exorcisms in use, almost untouched until the present day. It's basically the main outline of that 1614 Catholic Church. We got to make our own guidelines. They basically just took what he did. That's right. The Catholic Church's guidelines were distilled from Carlo to Zachariah, from Zachariah using a bunch of older exorcists, all of the work they did, and they are virtually unchanged since 1612. Because I'm sure, as you all know, nothing in this world has changed since 1612, so why would the Catholic Church ever have to update it until 1999? That's a spoiler. They did. Whoa, my voice cracked on that one. Okay, so again, I found this book. I found it online. It's at sokol.co.uk, and then just look up Zachariah Visconti. It is cool. It is amazing looking. It's in pretty damn good condition, in my opinion. They say it's not, but I disagree. It's up for sale for £3,950. It is the original from 1619. This rare edition actually has something that is really cool, that a lot of people are talking more about this than the actual book itself. On the title page, there's a map. And even though it's tilted toward the North Pole, it shows in the Southern Hemisphere two distinct and separate landmasses. One, Antarctica. The other, Australia, with the Dutch East Indies clearly above it. The Dutch had landed on the north coast of Australia in 1606, followed by a Spanish and Portuguese sightings, and a second landing by the Dutch in 1616, but it is an incredibly accurate depiction of Australia on the eve of its recognition of being Australia. Like, more people are more impressed with this map that just happens to be on the title page than they are about the contents of the book itself. And again, kind of rightfully so. It's amazing that they did it so accurately, so right, and talk about things that really weren't talked about. This book is impressive for many reasons, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And again, you can bet if I won like stupid lotto money, I would buy up these rare 1600 books on exorcisms. They look cool as hell. Until then, I recommend how I learned about them. This thing called PDF versions for $1.99. Or that digital copy to get those guidelines for a mere $10. So much better than £3,950. But that finally, after all this point in this episode, brings us to 1614. The Catholic Church has their guidelines. They've gotten rid of the grimoires. They've basically stolen Zachariah's work and said, yeah, no, this is ours now. This is exactly how you're going to exorcise demons. They know how and when to exorcise someone. They got pretty much rid of grimoires so other people can't. They also got rid of any kind of almanacs about exorcisms. Kurt here, not paranormal almanac. Take that, church. But also, they got rid of Book of Secrets. The Book of Secrets. I'm sorry, they didn't get rid of. They created. I apologize. I misspoke. They created these things called Books of Secrets, which were popular handbooks of magic. Exorcism manuals. They had exorcism manuals endorsed by the Catholic Church for the first time as ammunition, I guess, in their war against Satan. But these first few manuals, yeah, they were indistinguishable from conjurations found in those burnt-up grimoires. That's right. Even though they burnt them all up and said, no, those are evil, those are bad, we're going to use Zachariah's work. These stupid little books of magic, books of secret, still had essentially what the grimoires said, but just in the opposite way. So if the grimoire said, here's how you summon a spirit, the books of secrets would say, they would just write the opposite and be like, here's how you repel a spirit or repel a demon. Because of this, people figured it out. People were like, hey, I remember back in the day I would read these on how to summon them. This is telling me how to repel them if I do the opposite. And they started kind of like reverse engineering these manuals. Yep. They would use these manuals, use these manuals to conjure up demons rather than banish them. And they did so for such purposes as treasure seeking, gambling, and curing impotency. Kurt here. All right, I'm sure at this point some of you are like, Kurt likes treasure hunting. Kurt goes to Vegas. Kurt's gambled. I know he's talked about poke. Wait a minute. No, I have not conjured up demons for anything, but pretty much only because these guidelines are so basic and not very informative that I don't know how to Da Vinci Code reverse engineer them for my own gain. Hence, why I don't have a home. With my luck, I would summon some dickhead demon that's just like a shitty roommate that eats all of my food and shares my Netflix passwords to random floozies he meets at bars and just make my life even worse. But people did do this back in the day, and the Catholic Church was like, hey, hold on. We can't just hand out these little books of secrets because you guys are using them to get demons, not to keep you from demons. No more. And these exorcism manuals were added to the papal index in 1709 with warnings against using them to conjure demons. Because I'm sure that stopped people trying it. And they just weren't handed out quite so much. They were kind of kept in the Catholic Church. That was the other thing the Catholic Church kind of realized in 1709 was, shit, we got to keep this kind of close to the vest. Because what if people that are getting possessed, before they're possessed, they read this book and then they know how to, ignore the exorcism, if you will. So, good try, Catholic Church, but it was out there. The information was out there. And once that information's out there, it's hard to bottle it back up. So, again, if you want to, that book called the Thesaurus Exorcismorum Attaqua Conjuratorum Terribilium, the collection of 6 works of the most important Franciscan exorcists of the 16th century, that is Valerio Polidoro, Girolamo Menge, Zaccaria Visconti, and Pietro Antonio Stampa. Kurt, I'm sure you're saying, Kurt, why aren't you telling us about these other dudes? Well, it's more of the same, and frankly, it's kind of boring. But this book, first printed in 1608, republished after the Catholic Church standardized the rite of exorcisms in that Ritual Romanum. Well, this book then served as a compendium for any practicing exorcists outside the Catholic Church and kind of took over how you do exorcisms around the world. It's the primary source for demonology, both on who the demons are and how to repel them. And you can see it for yourself if you go to Books of Magic, that's magic with Magick, booksofmagic.com/thesaurus-exorcismorum. And I'll put that link in the Facebook fan page because a lot of really cool, really old 1600 books on demonology are on this website, and you can click through the PDF version of them or the, the online digital version of them. It's cool as hell. I don't read Italian or whatever the hell language it's in, but man, again, I would love to get my hands on a copy of this book as well, this Thesaurus Exorcismorum, this version, because it's creepy old. It's all about demons. So again, I guess what I'm trying to say is if you happen to have one of these books from 1614 just lying around, probably whispering to you in Italian all night, keeping you awake at night, feel free to send it to me at Paranormal Almanac, 1812 West Burbank Boulevard, number 7102, Burbank, California, 91506. It's cool. Go take a look at them. There's a lot of handwritten parts to these books because they're from the 1600s. A lot of really cool, weird, spellings and lettering and drawings, and it's just fucking cool to be able to flip through a 1600s book about exorcisms. And again, there's like pencil writings in them, and in the digital version, I'm kind of flipping through it right now. The pages are all kinds of wonky and stuff, but man, it is cool to read these books. And there's a lot of them. It's not just that. If you go to that booksofmagic.com, magic with CK.com, there's a lot of cool old books, old grimoires, ones that actually survived the Catholic Church burning of them all. They have a full archive of grimoire books in there, manuscripts, original editions, and they say it's a growing collection because people are still finding them. They're still out there to be found, and before the Catholic Church can buy them all up, these people are buying them. Cool as hell. I love everything about it. But, okay. It's an hour and 20 minutes. All right, I'm going to keep going. I don't care. Let's talk briefly. I was trying to decide if maybe I stop it there, but I'm going to keep going. Let's talk briefly about the Father Pierre Amiche. So we're still in the 1600s. We haven't left the 1600s quite yet. He had borrowed this manual from a fellow order member, Friar Gabriel Segarra, a man who was, again, out there doing the now Catholic version of an exorcism. He also decides, this is Father Pierre Amiche, he also decides that he wants to give patients something of his own device to, like, he's kind of trying to make the exorcism his own by following these guidelines, but making him his own, since those guidelines, as you heard, are kind of generic. So he starts giving patients or possessed people a demon exorcising card. Not exercising like working out, exorcising like exorcist, which he had written and which read, Jesus Nazareneus Rex Eudorium. Now, this note was placed on the door or the window of the patient's room, and it was thought, or his idea was, if I put this there, any demon trying to get into the room, like if it happens to leave for a minute during the exorcism, it won't be able to pass the name of Jesus, so it wouldn't be able to enter the house again. He thought there are times when you're doing an exorcism where it seems like they're free of them, and perhaps maybe they are free of them, but then the demon goes right back in. But this card would stop them. The name of God would stop them. He also did a thing called the Procol Recidant Somnia. And it was another little piece of paper that he put above the headboard. And it says, let the dreams recede. That's what Procol Recidam Somnia, that's what it means. Let the dreams recede. And his thought again was, when these people seem to pass out or fall asleep, this note above the headboard, the demon would read it and they'd say, all right, let the dreams recede. Basically stop possessing this poor person. He found that in his time, and even after his time, there were about 44,000 cases between 1615 and the 1700s. The Catholic Church found this. There was a significant increase in the number of trials for superstitious practices and the number of exorcisms done. So in the same diocese where Pierre Amiche was running around doing his own version of the exorcisms, in the town of Solsona, similar exorcisms, if you will, were being served by this hermit named Jacinto Garcia. Now, he didn't follow the Catholic way. He made it his own way and removed the Catholicism from it, which was a bad thing. And he was actually prosecuted by the Inquisition in 1641 for unauthorized exorcisms. Not only that, Jacinto seemed to use those exorcisms for treasure hunting. And he also had illegal grimoires, including demon conjurations and divinations and palmistry in his house. So they catch him doing these weird exorcisms and notice, like, hey, you ain't saying Jesus' name. What are you doing here, buddy? Hey, you're out there treasure hunting. How you finding shit, buddy? And figuring out that he's using exorcisms to That's right, get rich. How does he get that idea? By doing the exact opposite of the 21 guidelines from Carlo. So the church was like, nah, we can't have any of that. You get the fuck out. No unauthorized exorcisms for you. Then we move on to Pierre Puig, who is a priest serving in the municipality, I can say that word, in the municipality of La Garriga in the Principality of Catalonia. Now, he went against there was a woman and 4 dudes who testified to the Holy Office in 1637, like, this priest is doing shit not the way you told him to do it, not the way the guidelines told him to do it. He's doing his own exorcisms, and he added the treatment of faithful or healing the faithful with oils. So if you see in nowadays in exorcism movies, or even that movie in the TV show Evil, they'll put their hand in anointed oil and they'll rub their faces, the possessed person's faces or foreheads, or put it on their chest in the sign of the cross. That was his doing. He added that step in there. But it was found out during trials because, again, not authorized by the Catholic Church. He also tried to do some other stuff where he tried to consecrate any food that came into the house, because he was thinking that possessions could be kind of like witchcraft or bewitchment. So he would he would tell them, like, eat this consecrated food, don't eat anything else in the house, or stay out of these rooms until we figure out this piece of bewitchment, this object of bewitchment, including bundles of feathers that they found in their homes or weird objects that they found in his homes. And the church was like, oh, no. That's witchcraft. That's not what we're doing. That's not what the Catholic Church is doing. But he would take these objects, these witchcraft objects, he'd bury them or burn them. I think it's burnt, but there's a couple of sites that say bury. But I personally think he's burnt them in his own home in front of several people, and these people snapped out of it. So basically they were cursed people. They were like voodoo witchcraft kind of possessions, not the Catholic kind of possessions. And he said he was inspired by Malleus Maleficarum. Basically, he said this book kind of went around the same way as exorcism as the Catholic Church, but including witchcraft. Not so good either for him. He was eventually made to answer for his actions before the Holy Office on July 17th, 1637. He was handed over to the Inquisition. His manuscripts and books of exorcisms were destroyed, or again, confiscated by the church, and we'll never see him, but they said destroyed, and he was severely reprimanded, and the Holy Office said, you're not allowed to do witchcraft, or you're not allowed to do exorcisms either because you included witchcraft. Boom, another priest trying to make it his own, adding things to it that were eventually added by the Catholic Church, the holy oil, the consecrated oil. But nope, no good, you go away. We came up with that ourselves. Then we go to another case that came before the Holy Office in 1674. This one was testimony against Father Joseph Faura. I don't know. He was a priest of Santa Maria del Mar in Barcelona. He did things his own way. You can all see where this is going. It's going to end up bad for him. But what he did was he would invite all endemoniados, which means demon-possessed. That's another fun new word. He would invite all of the endemoniados in the area to his own home instead of going to their place or instead of going to a church, where he would sit them around a table late at night holding a candle. They all stared at the light of the candle lit in the middle of the table. On the table, there were 3 books and some stoles, like furs, which he laid in turn on the shoulders of those present, and then on his head and shoulders while he said the prayers, the Catholic prayers, and performed the exorcism described by the Ritual Romanum. That's right, Zacharias crap, yeah. All the testimony, according to the witnesses, said, yeah, he did things his own way, a little bit weird, but he still used the Catholic Church. Well, During the ritual, the possessed people would make more and more noise, making a series of obscene gestures, wailing, cursing, communal fits of hysteria, which increasingly disturbed his neighbors until the incident was reported to the Inquisition. Boom, bam, done. He was banned from performing exorcisms because he made it his own thing. The church was, what I'm trying to get at, if you haven't figured it out yet, church was really strict on, you have to follow it to the letter of the law, even if it's not working. We don't care. We don't want to hear about it. These are our guidelines, and you've got to follow them. You try to do anything even remotely outside of them, we're going to banish you, but we might take that cool little oil idea because that seemed to work. So we'll add that to it. But for the most part, don't you dare do it. So we're up to 1674. I'm going to really start jumping ahead, though, because, modern era decades is where we really kind of need to get to, because a lot of the same shit happened over and over again. Catholic Church would send somebody out. They would find that this would work better, and they'd be like, oh, hell no, fuck you do it our way or no way at all. They were stuck in their times, basically. Again, as you heard, from 1614 until 1999, they virtually didn't change that book, their guidelines, at all. So, let's jump ahead. Let's jump all the way to the late 1960s. That's right, flower power, the Beatles, all that fun stuff. The Roman Catholic exorcisms were now seldomly performed in the United States. That's right, exorcisms were at an all-time low in America. We've moved past it. We're a now modern society where exorcisms and bell-bottoms and olive-color appliances, we don't need your exorcisms anymore. We don't need your demons anymore. Then, the 1970s. Everyone knew about exorcisms thanks to The Exorcist. That's right. Boom. The Exorcist becomes an insanely popular book, then an insanely popular, fantastic to this day movie. And guess what happens? Thousands start claiming demonic possessions. It was the thing to do. Get a perm, listen to some Barry Manilow, have an exorcism. It was the hugest boom of exorcisms in modern time. Until 1999. Let's go back to 1999, kids. For those of you who weren't born, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, finally told us what it would be like if George made Darth Vader a whiny little kid named Annie. Cher was asking us about the afterlife in that song Believe, that really bad song. Regis was yelling at us who wants to be a millionaire. But what was the Catholic Church up to? Well, for the first time ever, they did a revision of the official guidelines for exorcism in Catholicism by the Vatican. That's right. We made it, kids. We got to the revision time. What changed? Other than an increase in exorcisms again. Seriously, they blew up again in 1999. But otherwise, what changed? Well, and why did they blow up in 1999? Besides all that stupid stuff, people were worried their computers were going to die by New Year's. I don't know. I don't know why they blew up, but they did. It was the biggest boom since the 70s, which was only 20 years prior, which was the biggest boom since the early 1900s. So, the 1614 ritual is about freeing those obsessed by demons, right? We all agree on that. That's what the whole goal was. We heard those guidelines. We know what they are. Well, the 1999 revision was about prayer and supplications. The revision included a medical examination. More than just having a doctor present. Do a medical examination. Is it a mental illness? So, check one. I think that's a good inclusion. Let's do that. The collaboration with doctors. That's right. Priests were now asked to work with doctors, psychologists, and psychiatrists to rule out other causes of mental illness or demonic possession, if you will. Then, they were having a big problem with this next one because of the Exorcist book and movie, and because of the 90s and we got the internet and all this fun stuff. Media blackouts. That's right. The media representatives were not allowed to be present during exorcisms anymore. Why? Because people were dying. You know how that happens when people aren't really possessed and the church gets involved and then makes that person suffer and suffer and suffer until they die. Well, that was bad news for the church, so media blackout. I'll call that one a bad one. Then, they included some optional texts. That's right, the Revised Rites provides optional text for priests. It opens it up a little bit more to kind of make it your little own thing. You no longer have to go by just those bad, stupid questions that I already forgot about. Why are you a demon? Who's inside you? How many demons? Can you ask them to leave? Like that bullshit. They open it up for the priests a little bit more to make it their own, to exercise a little bit more freely. They also added a caution for exorcists. That's right. The Revised Rite warns exorcists you are now opening yourself up to demons and the devil. And it could be bad for you. You open yourself up to it, it might come in. For the first time ever, it's really saying this is dangerous for you trying to be an exorcist. You could become possessed yourself. And finally, the reiteration of the existence of the devil. That's right, the revision reaffirmed the existence of the devil. You know, in case the priest forgot that there's a devil, I guess. I don't know. It also included, it assumed that possessed people retain their free will. That was something that wasn't ever thought or wasn't written about in this guideline. It invoked prayers, blessings, and other rituals. Oh, they're opening it up a little bit more. Maybe the Catholic Church doesn't know anything, and we should, try and talk to other people in other religions, and maybe other people have good ideas. That's right. They're opening it up a little bit more. And then they threw it back in, just kind of counterbalance that. Hey, you know what? Here's the traditional rite of exorcism in Latin. Learn it, live it, use it, memorize it. They they told priests, you must know the rite of exorcism in Latin. Well, I remember here, Kurt did that at the beginning of this episode. Let's do it again.
Exorcizamus te, omnis immunda donaldus, omnis satanica potestas, omnis incursio infernalis adversarii, nomine tuba vel musco, omnis legio, omnis congregatio, omnis ilon et secta diabolica. Tuba donaldus esto et in inferno ardes.
Yep, that's right. Learn it, live it, love it, use it. And finally, it required the express permission of the local bishop. No longer could an exorcist just say, well, I work for the church. I'm the exorcist for the Catholic Church. That person seems possessed. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to exorcise that demon. Nope. Again, people were dying. Church was put on the hook for it. A little CYA was the local bishop had to get approval from the Vatican that they're allowed, that the exorcist is allowed to do an exorcism for the first time in 1999. So, you know what? We're at an hour and 40 minutes. So part 2 will start where I just left off. That's right. Y2K has happened, and a dude is about to step up and kick some demon ass. The Exorcist, if you will. That's right, kids. Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger time. It's just too much to get to. This topic is insane. I hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope you guys realize how much work I put into this, because it's really hard to find something that the Catholic Church hasn't written themselves about the Catholic Church and exorcisms. And the stuff that the Catholic Church has written, oh, they never did anything wrong, and they never do anything bad, and then it's all successful, immediate exorcisms, and people don't die, and possessed people are stopped, and all that fun stuff. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. That's right. Part 2 will pick up where I just left off. Once again, I'm your host, Kurt Sandvik. This has been another edition of Paranormal Almanac. of Vistan as it some nalitne. Marshal not of